We all have a lot of stories that we can tell, a lot of stories that we can share when we sit together. We are all victims of, either victims of irregular migration, or must have known someone who had been a victim of irregular migration. So in essence, all of us are victims of irregular migration. Either a family member is involved in this, a close friend of yours is involved in this, or a relative to a close friend of yours is actually involved. So today's gathering, the discussion, like it is said, the theme is centered on breaking silence, saving lives. One of the major problems we have in this particular country is the culture of silence. Anyone that adventures on this irregular migration must have a departure point. The point of departure, people are aware. From the point that the person is raising funds to be able to embark on this irregular migration, we are aware. Sometimes the funds are raised by family members, sometimes funds are raised by friends, and then we allow them to venture into irregular migration, only for us to come back and cry after we've gone days of silence, days of dilemmas, where we couldn't know where these particular people are. One of the most tragic situations was the situation that happened on the eve of the New Year, 2026, precisely on the 31st of December 2025, when people left only 1 hour into see that some of them would have to make distress calls to be able to have a life saving. Sometimes people may think that when things happen, it is only you who are involved. Each and everyone in this country is very much affected in one way or the other. Some of us would not sleep the nights because we have to be linking with other people to ensure lives are safe at sea. This particular tragedy, someone made calls to people in the Gambia that they've left, and barely a 1 hour sail, they realized that the boat cannot sail any longer. So it was a chaotic situation, and before the Navy and the fire service could respond to this, some lives were already lost. We don't have to live in this. We must be ready to speak out. We must be ready to report things on time. We must be ready to ensure, like we said, I know the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament had mentioned this, that accountability must be taken into full force. People must be held accountable. The regulators must have to be asked questions. But at individual level, we must also have answers to certain questions. Why do we allow this happen? We should be asking ourselves. Migration is one of the oldest things to do. It has been in existence for the longest of times. But irregular migration is not the best way for us to migrate. This is what we need to understand. There is no one that is against migration. What we are looking for is ensuring lives are safe while we migrate. Migration routes, we use the conventional migration routes to migrate. When we use irregular migration, there are risks attached to it. And before we embark in this, we must ask ourselves certain questions. One of the key fundamental questions that we need to ask is this one of the best ways for us to route? Is this the best way that we are supposed to use to be able to migrate from one place to the other? We've listened to a lot of Gambian musicians, those into the art and culture. A lot of them have made songs about irregular migration. Two of which we have played just recently. One by Broke, the other one by Andrew. And we have a lot of messages to carry from this. Equally, I'm also a music listener. Lucky Dube, in one of his tracks, titled The Other Side, he talked about migration. He talked about issues of this nature. Basically, he was talking about the grass is greener on the other side. And that's the perception of every person. Our wish is to travel out of this country. Most of the youths, the wish are to travel out of this country. Because you think out of this country, you could make it better. So the grass is greener on the other side. That's the wish. But we've seen instances where people have traveled out of a lot of investments. They've sold some of their plots of land, traveled out of the Gambia, and after years and years of being out there, they have to come back with no penny. Now you have to start from scratch. The little that you could have had as a saving is all gone. So we need to look at how much are we investing on illegal migration? How much is being invested in this? How much are they paying? Where are they getting all these monies from? What are they doing to be able to get these monies? Some of them have sold some of their valuable assets just to embark on this pathway. You go out there after 6 months, you are returned back home. Now you have to come back and start from scratch. Where are we starting from? 6 months along the line, you've wasted $100,000 that you could have invested in a business or could have taken it to do something else. Now you have to embark on this journey, come back home and start from fresh. How long is it going to take you to raise $100,000 again? So let us look at ourselves. Let us ask questions. Let us get answers to the questions that we are going to raise. Today, the discussion is very essential. And we are very grateful that we are invited to this. And I thank you all for your kind attention.